My connection with Wales, I lived there for 10 years from 2006 to 2016. Lured by the landscape, we lived in an old mill worker's cottage in woodland. And although there were times when I was quite lonely, I actually wrote quite a lot. I wrote 3 books there, one of which 60 Years of Loving won the Guyana Prize in 2015. So Wales really sustained me and my creativity. I met many aspiring poets, professional poets, and we all worked together, and I still got friendships that last to this day. Winning the Wales Poetry Award in 2020 and being published by Seron are 2 of the greatest gifts I've had from my connections with Wales. And even though my new book is not all about Wales, it has certainly given me an insight into so much more, including my old hometown and country, Guyana. My poem references a poem by Jamaican poet Louise Bennett called Colonization in Reverse. Bennett performed her poems in the oral tradition using Jamaican dialect, and her poem is an amusing take on Jamaican migration to the UK, a type of revenge on the colonization of Africans who were enslaved and taken to the Caribbean. My poem's subject is a banana, my homegrown banana tree, which thrives well in winter and continually produces offspring. My banana thinks on Louise Bennett's colonization in reverse. Somewhere in his roots there must have been a seance. These things can cause revolts. Rumour spreads. Several times the wind was a banshee he thought only existed in Jamaica. He had of course never been to Jamaica. His birthplace was a greenhouse somewhere south of Hemel Hempstead. 100 decibels over land and sea, souls screaming in several octaves which, on occasion, would bring rain. Objects would fly his way. Next door's washing, a trampoline. The stator's leaves were left in broken. They resembled Jandy flags, weather-frilled and ripped in some sun-bleached front yard in Tobago, where the use of the word hurricane was not unusual. When she came back from Spain, the woman who had patted him into this soil stood at the back door and hollered, "Oh my God, my God! I planted 1 banana and I came back to 3. For a moment he thought he was a refugee. He'd wondered then if the light and the sword had touched him. He heard such frequent references from him close by. The ginger lily and the Cocos capitata were always in the throes of gossip, swapping tales of home soil and temperatures in biblical persuasions. He considered these testaments anecdotal. His own settlement had been without drama. His trunk and plumes may well be towering above this backyard fence, but he had no control over any of it. If his roots wanted to replicate themselves and emerged as progeny with high-gloss paddle-shaped leaves that became percussion when the winds came, that was up to them. He had no part of it. He was happy just admiring the parakeets screeching like fishwives in the chestnut trees and be tall enough to look over the gardens, some of which were paved and spewed hot tubs. It was sky, not earth, where he dwelt. But somehow, the earth was sending him messages, voices of the dead tapping into the watercourse, reaching up into his thirsty throat singing, "We shall overcome." And sometimes, just sometimes, he could hear drums, which strangely made him wish he could just pick his feet up and run.